So last night I was working on this square, and if you're seeing this, it must be episode number 2. I have no idea how much footage I got. I was out here for over 4 hours. What I got really hung up on was the paint. I did not like how the paint was turning out, and I tried maybe 5 different things, and I realized they're all really redneck, but none of them worked the way I wanted it to. I kind of had this vision for how this square was going to look when I'm done, and it wasn't working. I did a little bit of research online this morning to kind of see what other people do for this type of thing, and I found that the general strategy seems to be basically to paint and then to sand off lightly the paint that you don't want on the surface for this. So I swung by the hardware store and grabbed some 120 and some 220. And I forgot, I was gonna grab our sanding block. Wait a second. There's a chance it's here. Well, my memory didn't serve me right. I was thinking that we had one of those rubber sanding blocks here, and that would have worked really well for the sandpaper. But I have these foam blocks, and they're actually pretty rigid because they're pretty old. They're kind of crusty, and I don't know what grit they are. So I don't know if it's the paint or what, but this is basically, ironically, just more money and the same basic problem I was having last night. So I'm able to knock the paint off the surface, but for whatever reason, whether it's temperature or just didn't let the paint dry long enough, I mean, it's been drying for, gosh, an hour and a half. It's supposed to dry in 8 minutes. Sure seems like all I'm doing is knocking the paint off the lettering, which is obviously what I'm trying not to do. Just give it a light rub to see if maybe I just need to clean it a little bit. Well, that does actually look a lot better. So maybe the sanding, dust or whatever is kind of cluttering up the markings. That actually does look pretty good. So this is kind of what I've been starting with, is just completely covered in white, and then lightly sanding it, and then just a quick coating of alcohol. I would say it's acceptable. I'm happy with that. I can work with that. I think I'll continue and kind of see how this turns out. Well, I think I'm learning that last night I should have maybe just been a little bit more patient. It turns out that I was actually probably doing okay job. I'm not saying it was fantastic, but what I'm seeing is that as I clean off the sandpaper residue, that the lettering is actually quite visible. I just didn't realize it. And what I'm realizing now is that the condition of this paint, there's a lot of kind of surface paint here. I'm realizing that it's more of a testament to the condition of the surface of the steel than it is, the ability to sand and remove the paint. I actually would be proud to clear coat that. Since it's so cold in our garage right now, the paint will take a long time to dry on that square. And since I was kind of in the mood and quite a few other tools were damaged when the tool bag got wet, I figured I would just take some time and really give these tools the love they deserve. They've helped us build 2 timber frames already, and we're really hoping that we can keep them in good condition and continue to build some really amazing things with them. Kind of checking on this square. I know I put it on there really thick. See, no, it's still wet. So because it's so cold out here and I put the paint on so thick, guess we're gonna have to wait a while. Forgot I actually have one more tool that I need to do, and that's our 2.5 inch slick. This one turned out wonderful. Looks great. It was last sharpened in Maine on a Tormac, and that's a pretty substantial bevel change. So the honing on this is probably going to take several hours, I would think. Maybe if I had a really coarse honing grit, I might be able to knock it out in a couple of hours. Hey, are you terrorizing the neighborhood or what? What are you doing? Oh, is that warm? Huh? Is the hood of the car warm? Thing you're guaranteed to get when you have a cat is cat prints on everything you own. Huh? Did you hear me? Are you listening to me? Doing whatever you want. That's pretty typical. It's only getting colder out here. In fact, here's some ice sitting on the piece of plywood. So I took this inside and I tried to gas Alyssa and Bugaboo out of the RV. I'm not proud of that. I feel like the side that I just did turned out better than the side that I did earlier. And again, I think this side here, which is the side that I did earlier, as I clean it up, I feel like the steel is quite a bit more pitted than the opposing side. What I really wanted was for this eagle to show up super clear. It's such a beautiful logo. And this is the side we just did. I need to do some cleanup on the edges, make sure those are nice and tidy, and then I think we're ready for lacquer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to apply what I learned on this one to the next one. For example, one thing I noticed is when I put the lacquer, the clear lacquer on, I did not wait long enough for the white paint to cure, and so it wanted to soften and smear the white paint, which really sucks. I think overall, the areas that I really cared about turned out pretty stinking good on this square. So I'm excited to be able to get to use it. I know you folks out there are tool restoration veterans, so this will be not that shocking for you. But I think this square turned out fantastic. Starting out with something that was worse than this square, I don't even know how that's possible. This square is terrible. And ending up with this. What a fantastic result. Alyssa just got a text message from her dad, and it turns out that Alyssa's dad has, let me get this straight, her great grandpa's framing square. What? So I think we're gonna ask him to send it up. And I think it's in about this condition right here. So we'll have to see what it looks like when it arrives. But I think it'll be really cool if we can get Alyssa maybe to get in on one of these tool restoration projects. Thanks for joining me for this tool restoration. I had a lot of fun. It was really satisfying. I wish it was more warm in my workshop, but maybe in the future when we get it dried in, we can have more controlled environment. Till then, I guess I'll just keep gassing out Alyssa and Bugaboo.